Obviously, on Tuesday, we might have had one of the most exciting college basketball days of this year so far. It was just fantastic. You had number one Kentucky versus number two Michigan State, number four Duke versus number five Kansas, and that's what it's all about in college basketball. You want to see the best teams playing each other all the time, and that was just great to get the season started off with. I mean, right away you had Jabari Parker, Andrew Wiggins, and Julius Randle, all phenomenal players. LeBron tweeted after the game, NBA GMs wish the draft was tomorrow because it's going to be a great draft. These guys are all going to help out teams, really are going to be big difference makers, and I like them all. I mean, Jabari Parker showed he has a lot of athletic moves. Wiggins is tall and athletic. He's a good player, and Julius Randle has looked very good as well. I mean, he's big. He gets the rebounds. I think all three guys are exciting to watch. And but Rob, out of the three, which one do you think has the highest ceiling?
You know what? I wasn't. Andrew Wiggins' his first game, I really wasn't that sold on him. But after watching that game the other day, I'm sold on him. And, hitting that crucial shot with a minute and 30 left in the game, the jump shot, and then after that, his team steals the ball and he just slammed it down. He's looking like the number one overall pick. Jabari Parker, too, had an unbelievable night versus him. But I think these two guys are going to be great to watch this season, and I really do hope that they meet in the tournament this year.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's safe to say one of those teams is going to make it pretty far into the tournament. But that's just a little preview so far of what we've thought. But Iona's got a big weekend this weekend for the basketball. Got a big weekend game against Wofford this week. Really interested to see how that game plays out. I'm not too worried from what I've read about the scouting reports on them. I don't think they have too many explosive playmakers, not too much depth on the bench. So I think this is a good opportunity for Iona to get a win here. And a win here is really important because next week you're playing Kansas, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean, Kansas is a fantastic team. They're arguably one of the top five. They are one of the top five teams in the country. Andrew Wiggins is probably going to be the number one overall pick in the draft next year. So it's going to be a very tough game. But you never say never in college basketball because the gap has really closed tremendously between the big schools and the smaller schools. So I think on any given day, a team has a chance. So I'm really just going to be excited to see what happens in that one. Have any thoughts on it?
That game's going to be really tough for Iona. They really are going to have to shut down Wiggins. But that Kansas team is really tall, Joe. They were rebounding like crazy versus Duke. So it's going to be a really tough challenge. But I think we're going to have to put up a really good fight in this one, guys.
Absolutely. I mean, for anybody who wants to know, the game is next Tuesday. It's going to be on ESPN3, so you can watch the game there. And you'll get to see Andrew Wiggins, and he's a fun player to watch. It's 8 o'clock, so if you have time, you want to check out that game, I know me and Rob definitely will. I would check it out. But that's going to hit it on all points for our college basketball segment, and we're going to ease into our baseball talk. We've had a lot of baseball stuff, a lot of stuff to talk about, and we'll kick it right off with the MLB trade rumors. And one of the first ones is Matt Kemp is reportedly on the block. Was banged up all this year, even though the Dodgers were tremendous without him. He's still a phenomenal baseball player, and apparently the Seattle Mariners have expressed interest. So a big thing that I'm curious about is, do you think that the Dodgers would be better off without him, or do you think he's a key to their success next year?
I think with him on the field when he's healthy, he's a real key force to this team. Without them, though, they still play decent without him. I don't know what Seattle would offer, though. They would have to really give up some good prospects if they want Matt Kemp.
I mean, I was thinking that same way. What does Seattle have to get him? I mean, I think that they could survive without Matt Kemp. I mean, look, you want as many stars on the field as possible, but I think that the pace the Dodgers are going right now, the prospects they have, they're not afraid to go out and spend. I wouldn't be too worried. I think they can survive without him. If they can get good pieces for him, I mean, I guess why not? Because I don't know. I don't know if he's key to them, but we'll definitely keep on monitoring that one. And the next one is the Tigers are listening on offers for Prince Fielder. And if I was the Tigers, I would definitely listen. Prince Fielder has not impressed me. I mean, when it's come to the big times, they're paying him the big bucks for the playoffs, and he just hasn't delivered in the playoffs. He really hasn't. He's been really struggled there, and I don't think the Tigers would miss a beat if he was off the team. I would shop him for whatever I could.
Yeah, I would shop him too. I think I would want to get that big contract off my hands right now too. He got that big $200 million contract. I would definitely try to get him off my hands though right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that contract is really going to hurt the Tigers. I mean, look, they're still in a position. There's not too many teams that can compete with the bullpen that they have with Scherzer and Verlander and Anibal Sanchez. And I don't think you need Fielder right now. I think if you can protect Cabrera with that lineup, which you can with Victor Martinez and guys, I don't think you really need Fielder because Fielder is not a very athletic fielder. And I don't know. I think you could survive without him. The next one we have is the Orioles, and they're willing to deal Matt Wieters. I like Matt Wieters a lot. His batting average was down a little bit this year, but I think he's a good all-around multi-tool player. He's just a good clubhouse guy to have. I like the direction the Orioles are going in, though, and I would like to see him stick it out with this team. I think it's hard to find good catchers in the MLB right now, and he's a very good one, very reliable guy for them to have. So I hope they hold on to him, but I don't know about that one.
I like him. I think he's a really good defensive catcher. He can hit as well. But I also heard that Chris Davis might be getting traded too.
Davis too.
I don't think he should be traded, especially the phenomenal year he just had.
Yeah, you got to ride it out. When a guy shows that much promise, you got to see what more he can deliver for you there. And the next one we have is one of the ones I was really interested in. You have the Phillies, and they're talking with a trade for Jose Bautista. In 2013, I got his stats up right here. He hit 259, 28 home runs, 73 RBIs. I think maybe some people would be concerned with his health. He has been a little bit banged up. He only played 92 games in 2012, played 118 in 2013, so he's getting healthier. Those aren't terrible stats, not great compared to what he's been putting up the last few years, but I think him in the National League, I think he would do very well there in the National League.
Yeah, he definitely would. National League. You know what, Joe? Actually, that is a challenge on the National League. They have better pitching over there in the National League, I feel. But I think he could do good for this team. He's a big home run hitter, big RBIs guy. And now they have Marlon Byrd, part of that Phillies team. So I think that Phillies team should be good, especially with the return of Ryan Howard.
That's the thing I want to hit on right now, though, is the Phillies, it seems like they're still going all out. They're signing some guys. They're definitely going to go in a position to try to compete. But I just don't see the Phillies in a position to compete right now.
Me neither, too. I still see them as maybe a third place or fourth place team in that division. You know, a couple years ago when they spent all that money bringing in Hunter Pence, Roy Halladay, and that plan just backfired at them. So they should be really crucial with how they spend their money this offseason.
Yeah, I agree. I think they got to develop within, kind of like the Yankees. They just got to develop young prospects right now because they're not really in a position to compete. But we'll see what happens with the Phillies. And the big bulk of this right now is, though, we've got a lot of Yankee stuff to do. And part of the big news this week was the Yankees' interest in David Freese. The main thing I was asking, though, is what can they really offer to the Cardinals to get him? I mean, I don't think Freese is a phenomenal player, but he's a nice player to have. He's a pretty good all-around player. Comes from the Cardinal culture, so they develop him pretty well. But I'm not sure what the Yankees could offer to the Cardinals to get him.
Yeah, I really don't know what they would offer. He's a decent fielder, and he's a clutch hitter at times, but I really don't know what the Yankees have to offer for him.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see him, but if the Yankees, it might be one of those things where they're just asking around. I'm sure a lot of that is going to be going on, but it drew my interest a little bit. After that, though, we know the Yankees have expressed interest in Jacoby Ellsbury and Stephen Drew. I think both these moves are stay as far away from them as possible. Ellsbury is a good player, but I don't trust him. He's been hurt. I don't trust he's gonna be healthy enough. And Stephen Drew is he's not a good baseball player. He's a 250 hitter at best. He's not a great fielder. I don't like either one of the guys. I think the Yanks should stay as far away from them as possible.
Yeah, I dislike Stephen Drew too, Joe. I don't like him as a fielder. I don't want Boston players on my team anyway.
Yeah.
And Jacoby Ellsbury, do not even risk with that contract. That guy is unhealthy at all times, and you now going to be paying him big money, especially at 31 years old.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen how those deals work out most of the time, and looks like he wants a lot of money, and stay as far away from him as possible. The next big piece is it seemed like the Yankees are all in on Hashiro Tanaka, the big pitcher from Japan. And, I mean, it seems like everywhere you hear is the Yankees are interested in him. They're going to do whatever it takes to get him since it doesn't count against their cap room. But I just think the main thing is I think ever since Yu Darvish, people are now trying to replicate the success the Rangers had with him. So now this is the new hot guy. And I got to tell you, looking at the stats, obviously this year he was fantastic. 24-0 in the Japanese league. Didn't lose a game. I mean, he was just fantastic. He had a 0.94 ERA, so I'm sorry, he had a 1.27 ERA, so pretty good. But before that, the stats are nothing to write home about. Before that, he was 10-4. After 1.87 ERA. His first couple of seasons, 11-7. 3.82 ERA. 2008 was 9-7 with a 3.49, and then it got progressively better. But I just don't know how it's going to translate to the MLB. I was wrong on Yu Darvish. I didn't think he was going to have the success he had in the MLB, but I'm a little weary of Tanaka right now.
I'd be really careful with him because the Yankees, especially with Japanese pitchers, the best one they got was Ching-Ming Wang, but remember Keigawa, that was a big waste of money that they put
Absolutely.
into him, a big waste of investment. There's pitchers like Daisuke Matsuzaka who had a good first year and then struggled after getting injured. But there are people like Yu Darvish who really have stepped it up. So you gotta really test this pitcher out and see how he is throwing wise. You gotta really take a good look at this guy, practice him out a lot because you really don't want to waste an investment.
Absolutely. I mean, that would be a lot of money to be taken on this guy, and I'm a little weary, but we'll see what happens with that. The Dodgers are also serious competitors for him, so I don't know. We might let the Dodgers put all the money they want into him. And the last key thing we wanted to address, though, is we got to see what happens with Robinson Cano. That's the key. A lot of discussions going on with that, but we'll see what happens. We'll keep you updated on that one. Not too much to report right now. The other big thing is Brian McCann, one of the hottest guys right now. I think over 15 teams have expressed interest, including the Yankees. But I'm a little weary of McCann. I think he's a great catcher. The Yanks absolutely need a catcher, but this year he only hit 256, 20 home runs, 57 RBIs, 336 on-base percentage. For a guy like that who's going to command upwards of 80 to 100 million, I think that's what he's asking for. I just don't think it's smart for the Yankees right now. I mean, I think they need a guy with a lot more pop than that, and it's going to be hard for him to translate to the American League. I don't see those stats going up much more in a really hard to play American League. So I'm a little weary of Brian McCann. I like him, but I think the amount of money he's gonna want, I might pass on him with the Yankees.
I like McCann, Joe. This year I think he actually did put up decent numbers. He was out the first couple months with that injury.
That's true.
And he really stepped it up. And he's one of the catchers when I always do fantasy baseball. I'm always looking for him because he's always going to give you 20 to 25 homers a year, maybe 80 and 90 RBIs. And I think he could step up with this Yankees team because, the loss of Russell Martin really killed them this year. Then Cervelli broke his finger, and then it really went downhill from there.
Absolutely. I mean, those are good points. I don't think we ever underestimated how much that loss was going to be, but the Yanks, they've got a lot of questions to do, and that's wrapping up our baseball segment. That's wrapping up our show. Great show, so much content. Like I said, we'll be back. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Good luck to Iona tomorrow. Hope they get a win there. Good luck to my Miami Heat tonight playing the Mavericks. I'm sure they'll get a win there. And we'll see what happens there, though. But before we go, I'll read you that flyer one more time. You got Stress Free Week 2013. Come to the event, relax, have fun. Beat the stress before finals week. You're going to have free pizza, activities, giveaways, and more. It's November 21st in Heinz Haggerty Room, 12 p.m. You can also follow them on Twitter at 2013 Stress Free. I would definitely check it out. Pretty cool. We'll be back next week, 12:35 to 1:30, same time, same place. Thank you guys. This is the Sports Vault, and we're signing off.
Open sesame. It's time for the Sports Vault with Jersey Joe and Big Shot Rob.
Yeah, Joe, I think the Knicks are going to win the championship this year. They're going to beat the Heat.
Let me stop you right there, Rob. The Miami Heat will win the championship this year.
It's back-to-back titles for the Heat. The 2013 NBA championship resides once again in Miami.